The issue at the moment is the shortage of foreign currency for corporates. And then that goes with currency reform. So for me, from where I sit, I think really the silver bullet is about currency reform. If we get that right, so that the corporates can access foreign currency whenever they need to, a lot will change. The currency reform agenda is also impeding foreign investment, by the way. We know this, we're fully aware that if investors cannot take their money out, they're not going to come in the first place. They can't take their money out because we don't have the forex for them to do that conversion. So the issue really is currency reform. If we get that right, and I believe we will, a lot of these issues will go away. I know that it's not the first order of business is not a tax rebate for them. It's actually the availability of foreign currency. It's as simple as that. So I'm acutely aware, and we'll deal with this forex reform issue sooner than you think.
Okay, I'd like to build on that. I'll quote something that you said within a certain paper. It said, open quote, "The private sector should wait for you to give policy. We are making good progress in fiscal consolidation. Once we are ready, we will institute requisite currency reforms," and you were touching on currency reforms. The question now comes from the corporations, especially those that are heavily dependent on raw materials, that have to import raw materials, because waiting for forex allocation is putting a lot of strain on a lot of businesses that don't have a leg that draws raw materials from local companies. So the question then becomes, how far are we within the fiscal consolidation process? Like, are we halfway there? Do we still need, how much more time before we start talking currency reform?
I would like to believe we are close, but as you can imagine, currency reform sometimes has to happen by stealth, because it's always very sensitive. Again, that balance between preservation of value, which may involve speculation, and distortions, that is a fine balance that we have to walk. So it's not easy to pronounce a long road map with milestones. You don't do that. You're just inviting speculation and attacks and everything and positioning. So I think we are close. I think I can safely nod. We're making good progress. As I said, that if you've been reading between the lines, currency reform started on the 1st of October. That separation, if you're listening, if you're watching, listening carefully, and I know you as Mabins are much too smart, they are, it has started, and what was missing at that point was the fiscal discipline that we've now put in place through the budget, the austerity for prosperity. Now I'm confident that with that solid fiscal framework, we can successfully institute a successful currency reforms. And my message to the corporate sector was because, frankly, I do not believe that adopting the US dollar is currency reform. That's capitulation. It's actually the opposite of currency reform. Currency reform means something else. It means that creating something that we're all proud of, something that we can defend, that is credible, something that will not erode our competitiveness. The US dollar will erode competitiveness, absolutely. We know that. And going forward, it will just get stronger as a currency. And that's not good for a weak economy like ours.
Honorable Minister, you say that we are close, and that's a rather vague response.
It is vague.
I say this because there's a lot of young people who are going to be casualties along the way on this journey to currency reform. You have young parents in this room who swiped $250 bond for a pair of Tuffy's shoes when the schools opened. And all of the speculation and price hikes is a result of the lack of currency reforms. So are you in a position to give a more maybe concrete response in terms of months, weeks, days, years to allow young people to plan for their lives?
It's months.
Months, okay. So it's months.
Less than 12 months, right?
Less than 12 months.